Today's Browns Report is sponsored by RexMD, the #1 leader in men's telehealth. Plus, when you go to rexmd.com/chat, you can get 90% off. Now, we'll tell you more about their awesome services later on in today's video. Greg Newsome reportedly wanted to be traded, and then Greg Newsome himself chimed in and said, "No, I do not." We had a big all-time Borat moment where it was Greg Newsome wants to be traded, not. So we're going to break down the trade rumors on today's show. It was quite a, 20 to 30 minute whirlwind on Twitter for everyone a part of Browns Twitter today, because Brad Stainbrook tweeted out, source, Browns Greg Newsome would like to be traded, and the world caught fire for 5 minutes, and very quickly it was put out. So Adam Schefter, like 20 minutes later, tweeted out, amidst speculation that he wanted to be traded, Browns cornerback Greg Newsome and his agent Drew Rosenhaus met today with the team to discuss his future role there. Greg is happy to be with the Browns, Rosenhaus said. Everything was very positive, and Greg is happy with his role and playing for new defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Fast forward to 15 minutes later, and Greg Newsome himself quote tweets that earlier Brad Stainbrook tweet, which, by the way, has since been deleted, and said, okay, y'all sit back a minute and let's think about this together. I just launched a softball game in Cleveland. I'll just leave it there. So the first time I saw the Brad Stainbrook tweet, my first thought, I literally was sitting in the office and I was like, Greg Newsome wants to be traded? That's going to make a softball game this week very awkward. And then we got the tweet from Adam Schefter that was conflicting. But you know what? I think Stainbrook is a good reporter, and people have misses from time to time. And unfortunately for him, this was a big miss. So he ended up deleting that original tweet. And the ultimate white flag, he put up a Notes app screenshot and said, I would like to apologize to Greg Newsome regarding my latest report. My goal is to be accurate and correct, and today I failed to view the entire picture. And instead, I jumped the gun. To be 100% clear, I was told Greg Newsome wanted to be traded. I will never reveal where I get information from, but I would have never even reported it in the first place if I didn't trust where I was getting information from. I am confused on why someone would lie to me regarding that information, but I will continue to improve and learn from this mistake. Again, I apologize to Greg Newsome regarding this report, Brad Stainbrook. Now, some quick thoughts I have on this to kind of help Brad out a little bit, because sometimes trade rumors leak and the teams say, we're not interested in trading that player. Because the team doesn't want it to be known in the locker room they tried to shop a player, and if they couldn't find a trade partner, well, then Greg Newsome comes back to Berea and he's all pissed off because this team tried to trade him. But in this situation, it's not that the team wanted to trade him, it's that Greg Newsome, the player, reportedly asked for a trade, and Greg Newsome, the player, on Twitter said, no, that is not true. So sometimes stories like this where teams come out and say that's a false rumor might not have been false at the time. They're just trying to contain a fire from getting out. But in this case here, it does appear like there really is no buzz or talk around Greg Newsome getting traded. Now, we're going to break down this, and I'll give you more opinions and takes in just a moment. But today's show is presented to you by RexMD. Fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? We've all had those nights where we get too nervous, or maybe we had too much to drink. There's nothing worse than not being able to put the stick shift in drive when you need it most. But have no fear, RexMD is here, spreading cheer even when you've had too many beers. RexMD is FDA approved and the most trusted leader in men's telehealth. They have sponsored today's Browns Report to help you always be prepared. RexMD has made it simple, easy, and cost-effective to help all men out there last longer and feel more confident in the bedroom. RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription, and they even deliver it discreetly to your door. No waiting rooms, no embarrassing trips to the doctor, no insurance, and no copays. Take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. go to rexmd.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available to our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/chat. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. Now, getting back to the show. The only thought I had initially when the Stainbrook report came out was that maybe Newsome, which it sounds like he did from Schefter tweeting out later, met with Schwartz, met with Stefanski, and was told, hey, you're staying in the slot. And then Greg Newsome said, well, I don't want to be in the slot. I want to get traded. That's really the only path I could see for a hypothetical situation here where Greg Newsome requests to be traded. Because he's not requesting to be traded because he's unhappy in Cleveland. I don't think that's true. He's got friends in the locker room. He likes playing with the Browns. He clearly is, immersing himself in the city of Cleveland. He's hosting charitable softball games this week. So I'm going to disregard the idea of Greg Newsome wants out of Cleveland, right? He's not Kyrie Irving. No, I think it was maybe Greg Newsome didn't like his role on the team, and he's a good player, and he's just not a bad fit. But again, all this sort of goes down the toilet because Greg Newsome said, I don't want to be traded. Now, I'll let everyone chime in here. I think I know what the responses are going to be, but hey, maybe Brad Stainbrook's watching and he's going to put Y for yes. But will Newsome get traded? Sound off in the comment section below if you think the Browns will end up shopping the former first-round pick. Now, anytime trade rumors come out, whether they are, real or they're just far-fetched rumors, we keep you in the loop here. So make sure you are subscribed, and let's get to 19,000 subscribers before the NFL draft. If you enjoy the free Browns content here, consider subscribing. So Newsome, through his career so far, hasn't been spectacular, but he has not been a bust, right? Unfortunately, through 2 seasons, which he has yet to play a full season, he has not recorded an interception. He's had some ups and some downs. Newsome has been a solid contributor, in my opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. Has he been a liability on the field? No. I don't think anyone's ever yelled at their TV for Woods to get Greg Newsome off the field. I nearly forgot the Browns defensive corner for a second there. I've been doing my best to block those defenses out of my mind. Has he made spectacular plays? Not really. He hasn't been a head case. He's sort of just been middle of the road. And that's okay. That's not bad. So the reason why I think the Browns are not looking to trade Greg Newsome, outside of just him being a good contributor on this team, Joe Woods, is Newsome's cap hit for the next 3 seasons. If they pick up his 5th-year option next offseason, and I think this year will be a big factor in that decision, because right now it feels like it kind of go either way potentially. You're looking at 3 years of a rookie control, team-friendly contract, $3 million, $4 million. Like, that's a pretty good deal for a starting cornerback in the NFL. If they pick up his 5th-year option, we don't have the exact number and figure just yet, but based off previous seasons, I'm going to project it to be in the neighborhood of $11 million. So the Browns are not dying to trade away a young, good, he is good, and cheap cornerback, right? If a trade happens, I don't think it's going to be because the Browns want to make a deal happen, right? Unless a team comes in here and blows them out of the water with an offer they can't refuse, it's not going to go down. Now, up next, I'm going to look at what it could cost to land Newsome, mostly because I put this half of the show together before Greg Newsome tweeted out, I don't want to be traded, more or less. And so I still want to kind of run through some hypothetical scenarios here. So his trade value, I think it could kind of look like an Elijah Moore trade. When Stainbrook tweeted out, report Greg Newsome or source wants to be traded, the whole Chat Sports office was asking me, how much does it cost to get Greg Newsome? Right? I felt like I was in the market in Cairo at Indiana Jones. So I was saying, I don't think it would cost a first to get Newsome, but I think it could kind of look like a better Elijah Moore trade. We got some picks going back and forth, but Cleveland gets a 2nd rounder. Our Bears guy at Chat Sports, Harrison Graham, said, what if Chicago offered a 2nd in exchange for Newsome and a 5th goes back? That way both sides don't gain or lose draft capital, but Cleveland just moves up from 5 to 2. So kind of an interesting idea. Again, all this seems extremely far-fetched at this point, with Greg Newsome himself saying, I don't want to be traded, and Stainbrook deleting his tweet. But hey, would you do this trade? Just kind of talking out our asses right now because it's Tuesday, April 11th. It's not quite the dog days of the offseason. We're going to save that for July, but we're in between free agency and the draft, and Mel Kiper put out a new mock draft, and he discriminated against the Cleveland Browns because he only went 2 rounds, so we don't have a ton to discuss. Now, one more thought I had that I wanted to get across. The Browns didn't move Greg Newsome when they were trying to get a wide receiver, right? They didn't move him to get Elijah Moore. They didn't move him to get DeAndre Hopkins or Jerry Jeudy. So why would they trade him now, right? They got their wide receiver, and they kept Greg Newsome. It really doesn't make a lot of sense for the Browns to now decide, now that we got the receiver that we were looking for and potentially we're going to move Greg Newsome to get, but we ended up keeping both, let's go ahead and trade Greg Newsome. That doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense to me. So at the end, I do not expect a trade to happen. Sure, if an offer Andrew Berry can't refuse comes in, that changes things. But the Browns don't appear to be seeking a trade, and Greg Newsome does not appear to be requesting a trade. So if both sides are happy with where they're at, I just don't see a trade going down. Now, Greg Newsome is definitely not a first-round bust by any means, but I do kind of want to wonder or ask what your biggest miss on a first-round pick is. The reason I ask is because we were looking at Mel Kiper's new mock draft today, and he had some questionable first-round picks, and we were sort of discussing which one is going to be the biggest miss of all. And as a Browns guy, unfortunately, we know that all too well. So what player did the Browns draft in the first round you were super high on that unfortunately just did not work out? Hit me up on Twitter, by the way. I don't delete tweets over there. So, at Matthew Petey. I feel bad for Stainbrook because I think he is a good reporter. I enjoy following him, but people have misses sometimes. That's the price of doing business, right? When you're a big J blue checkmark guy reporting stuff out there, you're going to have your hits and you're going to have your misses. So, don't shame the guy. Don't go in his mentions and rip him a new one. I'm sure he feels bad enough already.